Hi Sharon, how are you? I decided I'm going to start a new sculpture, and since a lot of people have been kind of keen on watching me work, I thought I'd go ahead and just go live. I don't think anyone has ever seen me create the sculpture before. They've seen me paint in videos anyway, but I'm going to start a new sculpture today. So I'm just going to kind of take you along for the ride. I'm doing okay. It's been kind of a rough day, but this is going to be kind of like a therapy session here for me. I had to go and have a CT scan done this morning. So, but before that, went and got my B12 shot, which I get once every month. But the I had to have the CT scan done with contrast, so it really messed up my mouth. So I have a lot of water here. I've been drinking a lot of water since then, but I also have hot tea that I'm drinking because I have to have that at night. So, hi, Just as Hambrick. How are you guys doing? Thanks for stopping by. Well, I'm going to go ahead and let me kind of show you what I'm going to be working on or some examples of what I've done. I'm basically tonight I'm going to be creating the armature for my new sculpture, but I want to show you a couple examples. This is the one that I showed in the little trailer to tonight, and if hopefully you can see, it's made of off fabric and wire and a few other things. And I'll walk you through the process. Tonight is going to basically be like part one, and then most likely over the weekend, maybe Friday night or Saturday, I will do part two, which involves a lot more mess. And my granddaughter won't be here then, so it'll be a lot easier to, you know, create that kind of a mess without having to worry about her waking up or that sort of thing. So I'll do part one tonight, and then I'll do part two this coming weekend. So stay tuned for that. But this is one example, and it's everything is really hard. The material that I'm working with is called Powerpole, and it's all. This is a lot of fabric, but it is solid. It's hard. Even the feathers on the dream catcher, they're moving, but they're actually quite hard. And because this was made more than 2 weeks ago, it is now completely weatherproof. So I could put this outside in my garden and it could get beaten on by the rain, snow, whatever, and it will be perfectly fine. So, but this is one that I made. This was, I want to say, about a year ago, maybe just less than a year ago. And then let me show you a couple others. This one, this is another one, and this one was done in black. I call this one On Top of the World. It does look like aged metal. Yeah, because I designed that one is supposed to look like bronze, and the color that I add on there is supposed to give it like a patina of aged copper. So that's why it has that look. And then this one was done in black, and haven't really added any color to it, but I need to add a sturdier base because the base when I first made it, I didn't make the base quite big enough. It stands up fine, but I think I need a more solid base. I'm thinking about attaching it to a brick. But I call this one On Top of the World because she's kind of sitting on a globe. And again, I don't know if you can hear it. It's hard, very hard. So that is another one. I've made quite a few, but several of them have sold. This is one that is still in progress. And on the top is just a bust of a female, and this is supposed to represent me. The color on which one? Do you prefer the black or the bronze? Just us. I'm kind of. I personally prefer the bronze, but I try to work with the two. It depends on what I'm creating, and tonight I have no idea how this is going to turn out. This is going to be my. Oh, you prefer the black? Yes, and I think when I add some color to it, I think you'd like it even better. But personally for me, I think I love bronze sculptures to begin with, so I think that's why I favor the bronze when I'm working. But the black is really nice as well. Sometimes I work with the transparent material so that whenever I dip the material, like you'll see this weekend, it still keeps the color, but it still makes it hard. But I personally prefer to do either black or the bronze. I don't do the transparent much. So, but this one is supposed to represent me and my three children. So that's why you have the three um, balls right here. So, and it kind of flows all the way down because they're supposed to be a continuation of me, if that makes sense. Hi, Cha. Thanks for stopping by. We were just talking about some of the sculptures that I've already created, and this one is still a work in progress. It's not quite finished yet, but I'm going to start a new one just so you kind of see the process and you can kind of follow the whole process. If you come back this weekend, you'll see the part two. But for tonight, what I'm going to do is basically create what we call the armature or the framework. So, but yeah, this one is me and my three children. So I don't think I would sell this one. I think this is for me personally. All right, so I'm gonna leave these here. You guys you should be able to see those. And how do I start off anyway? Let me just cut the chit chat, right? You guys want to see me work. All right, so there are three pieces of wire. And these are your basic, I'll show you the kind of wire that I'm using. It's actually floral wire that I got from the Dollar Tree. And it's very, very sturdy. And if I'm working and I'm not paying attention, I will occasionally glance, but sometimes I get into the zone and I kind of forget what I'm doing, forget that I'm even on a live. So forgive me if that happens. Thank you, Just Us. Thank you so much. Thanks, Sharon. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how I started. And this is floral wire, but it is very, very sturdy. And I went ahead and cut the pieces that I needed. It's actually 6 feet in length. And I have two pieces that are 20 inches in length. And then I have a third piece, which is 17 inches in length. And I'm going to show you how these three pieces of wire actually become a figure. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the two pieces that are 20 inches in length. Let me straighten them as much as I can. And what I'm going to do here is create the two legs and what will look like two extra arms. So got two pieces. I'm going to find the center, as much of the center as I can. And then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to start twisting. And I'm going to twist this until I have like a 4-inch spine. See what I'm doing? So you can see kind of two legs here and two arms. So I have about 2 inches right now. I'm going to just keep twisting. That's about 3. And let me see, yeah, a little bit more. So this has basically created like the spine. You see that? And then I have 2 legs and what looks like 2 arms. So I'm going to put this to the side, and then I am going to pick up this other piece of wire. So this piece is going to become the head and 2 more arms, but it'll make sense in a little bit. She's not going to have 4 arms, but it will make sense. So what I'm going to do is take 2 ends and I'm going to just bend until they cross, and I'm going to keep going until I have the size of the head that I desire. Now this is going to be a fairly tall sculpture, so I don't want the head to be too tiny, otherwise it's going to look kind of off. So I think that will be a good size for the height of the body. All right, so I'm going to stop there, and then what I'm going to do now is simply twist until I create a 1-inch or so neck. See there? So now I have something that looks like a head, and what looks like 2 more arms. And you know what? This is going to be too short. So I'm going to cut another piece, because this piece here would normally make the arms of the body, but is actually no, it works. It'll work. A lot of it is just guesswork. But this right here, this is going to be the head, and then right here I have the neck. Now, sometimes I leave the head as it is, and I use a ball of aluminum foil. But one of the things I like to do, which you see on the first one I showed you, this is actually a styrofoam ball in here that shapes the head. So that's what I'm going to do for this one as well. And I have a bag of styrofoam balls that I also got from the Dollar Tree, and these are all various sizes, but I'll just find one that's going to fit in there. That's a little small. And that one is too big. So we're going to use the smaller one, and then we'll just wrap it with aluminum foil afterwards. So this will basically kind of fit in here, and I'll just kind of squeeze that together. And what I'm going to do is take a piece of tape just to hold it in place. Just to hold that in place for a minute. Okay, so here we have got, let me just, I told you I'm just going to keep talking and working. Hi, Christina. Hi, Kahuna Matata and Aloha Food. Thank you guys for stopping by. I warned you I'm going to work, and I'm going to forget that I even have people watching. Okay, so got the head, and this part here is going to create the body. So let me pick up the other piece again, because I thought this was going to be too short, but it's not. So what you have here are 2 arms, and then you have the 2 legs. Hi, Black Storm. So what I'm going to do is this part goes on the top, and you'll see all I'm going to do now is take this part here, and I'm going to wrap it around and bring that down. And that is basically going to create, I don't know if you can see, that's like the upper torso, half of it anyway. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. Take this, let me bring it closer so you can see. I'm going to take that, wrap around, and it basically kind of creates the shoulders. If you can see that. Yep. And then all I do, because it's kind of loose here, all I do is I simply take a piece of tape, and this tape is going to start acting funny on me. And I just take a piece of tape and I wrap it around just to hold that wire in place. So here we have just the wire framework. This would be kind of like the skeleton of our body. 2 arms, 2 legs, the head. And now all I'm going to do is start to put on all of the tissue. And I'm going to show you how I do that. Let me see if I'm missing anyone. Black Storm, aloha. I said hi to you guys. Christina, thank you so much for being moderator. I will create while I have some dinner. And you go right ahead. All right, so I'm going to show you what I do next. This was part 1. Not part 1. This is basically step 1. So from here on out, like I said, I'm going to start to add on like the muscle, like the meat onto the body. And I've decided this is going to be female. So I don't think I've created any sculptures that weren't female. And for those of you who are just stopping in, let me show you the ones I showed at the beginning. This is one of the examples that I did. Christina, I think you like this one. And this started out the same way that I just showed with that wire framework. So there's one, and here's another. Started out the same way, but this one is seated on top of a giant. This is actually made from a styrofoam ball. It is really not. Might look heavy, but it's really not heavy. So that's the second one, and both of those were made using the same steps that I'm showing here. So what I'm going to do now is start to add on all of the meat onto the body. So and for that I use aluminum foil. And these are the pre-cut ones. It's just a lot easier for me to pull out. And I get these from the Dollar Tree as well. So I just, rather than on there, so I literally take just a piece of this. I don't need the whole thing. And I just place it on. And just literally start to press the aluminum foil onto the body. And then for the neck, I want to make sure that I kind of squeeze that on there because you don't want to have a bodybuilder neck on your female sculpture. See where I'm going with that? Now for the body, what I'm going to do is take one sheet, and I usually kind of fold it for the kind of to give like a triangular shape at the top. Because I do want her to have a waistline. I did say she's going to be female. So I usually make her with a waistline, which may not even matter towards the end because it depends on what I put on her. You can't really tell there. And with this one, the outfit is really flowing, but I still try to create a form that's befitting a female. So what I'm going to do, I need another piece under there. Let's push this piece up. Because I do give her a chest as well. So what I'm doing is just squishing this up, and this is going to go here. And I'm just simply pressing it onto the wire. So that's just the front. And I just keep adding on until I get the figure that I want on her. Sometimes I make the figures a little bit more voluptuous, and sometimes I make them really tall and slender. But it all depends on the mood that I'm in at the moment. Thank you, Black Storm. You should see it when it's done. If you think this is amazing. Just kidding. All right, so, and I'm just going to keep patting it on. That's just on the front. So now I'm going to add a little bit on the back. And I just pull another sheet out. And I just keep adding the meat on. Keep glancing. Add a little bit more around here. And when I add, I'm actually going to give her a bum. And every time whenever I'm teaching these classes, especially to young people, and I show them how I make her bum, they always giggle. I said, well, that's how you guys look as well, so. All right, so I'm just going to keep packing on. All right, let me just show you how I actually make her booty, for lack of a better word. take this, fold, and all I'm going to do is take it, kind of wrap it through, and I don't know if you can see. Then I'm going to bring it around, bring it down, just for now. And take some more. I usually go through an entire packet of the aluminum foil, just building the flesh on. Let's see. All right, so now I'm going to try to give her 2 cheeks. Let's fold that up a little bit more. Hoping you can see. Let me just put this down for a sec. I'm gonna make another one. Now I know that none of this is even seen, but it's just, I guess it's just my mindset. I've got to go through and build the entire thing so that I know that, you know, from the beginning, everything is the way it's supposed to be. But it's just me. I just like to go through this. So, all right. So let me grab another piece. And let me just show you, kind of give you a close up. This is what I usually go through and do. And now I'm going to just, it's not quite finished. I haven't really finished packing on the flesh here yet, but I've got to get this part on first. Let me, again, all right. Let me just go ahead and start wrapping on a little bit on the legs. And all I do is just wrap around and squeeze. But then what I do after this, once I get the flesh the way that I want it to be, then I simply secure all of the aluminum foil using masking tape, which would then act as the skin, hold everything together. So I just keep doing this. Make sure I'm not missing. See what I'm doing? And I haven't really formed any feet or hands as yet. I usually do that at the end, once I have it on a stand. Still forming the general shape of the body. Go ahead and put a piece on to form the arm. Yeah, this part usually takes a while because I really want to have the framework nice and secure, nice and strong before I start to add anything else on there. Because you want to make sure that, you know, it's kind of like building a house. You want to make sure your foundation is strong before you actually bring the walls up. All right, so there's one arm. There is an artist named Henry Moore. Henry Moore, if you could take a look at, he creates these really, really skinny sculptures. So if you take a look at his work, you get an idea of what you can do just using this framework that I have, that I just built. But I take it a little bit further. Right. You see so far? Still got a long ways to go, but it's getting there. And I just keep patting this on. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. I'm glancing back and forth. If you do have comments or questions, I did the material that I'm using, that I will be using to complete the sculpture, is called Power Pole, and it's a textile hardener. And I actually spent an entire weekend getting certified in working with this material. And when you see this coming weekend, when I actually start to work with it, you'll see just how messy it can be, but all of the different, I mean, you can create some amazing sculptures using this material. All right, it needs a little bit more at the top. There we go. Just building up her chest just a little bit more. And there's really no right or wrong way to put on the material. Is you just, when you're building it, you just get it on there nice and secure and just squeeze it on to make sure that it's nice and strong. What you want is for all of this to become loose when you're trying to work with the powerful material. Your foundation is always the critical part. Don't start to build the rest of your house, so to speak, without foundation. All right, let me put some more on the back. Kind of skinny back here. All right, what I'm going to do here is kind of give her a chest simply by creating 2 balls of aluminum foil. Try to get them as even as possible. And then let me put this down for a minute. Then I'm just going to use another piece, kind of secure. And I'll show you what I'm doing in a minute. I'm just basically building her chest up a bit. All right, so I've got those 2 on there. Kind of give her the idea that she has a chest. And I'll just work and if you can see that. And again, this part is really not that essential, but because I really don't know what I want my final outcome to be just yet, I usually go ahead and do this part just to. Okay. kind of material do you use to cover it? Okay, what I do from here, after I'm finished adding all the meat on with the aluminum foil, I use masking tape and I secure all of that acts like the skin. And then from there, I use some pieces called, these are called wrappers. And they, let me take out one to show you. It's a very thin cotton material. See how stretchy that is? And what I do from here is I take these, I cut them up into strips, and then I dip them in this material, which is the Powerpole. And this is a liquid. And on the day that I'm doing this, I will have everything covered in plastic because it's the only thing that it does not stick to. If it gets on your clothing and it dries, that's it. Your clothes are ruined. It does make weather-proof sculptures, but this is the material, and it's let me see if I can open it to show you quickly. I've been using it a lot, so I don't have a bunch left, but I can show you. See, it's a bronze. It looks brown, but when it's all dried, it's actually a bronze color or a bronze effect. Highlights, graphics, action. I saw you today live. Or was it yesterday? I'm almost positive it was today. Today was kind of a crazy day for me, but I know I watched you live recently. So this is that liquid I showed you is what I will use to create this the effect with this material. Now I'm not sure what material I'm going to be using, and like I said, I really don't even know what my final concept is. I have an idea in my head what I want my sculpture to be doing, but usually as I'm working, ideas will come to me, and as I'm playing around with the fabrics, that will also give me an idea of what I want my final sculpture to be as well. But once I start to put the materials on, I have to be sure, because once the material starts to dry, I can't manipulate it because it is very, very strong. When it's like this, even with the tape, I can start to bend the arms, I can bend the legs, and decide what I want it to be doing. But once I start to put the Powerpole material on, I have to know for certain what I want it to do. I also have to create a base, and I'll show you how I do all of that in the next the next live that I do, which will be this coming weekend, because this part here does take a while. And I don't want you guys to be sitting there all night watching me do this, even though Christina said she wouldn't mind. But that's why I decided I would do this in parts, so that you just get the idea for different parts of the process. So right now I'm just going to continue building up. And add some more to the leg. Yes, I know you would, Christina. But we would be here, gosh, probably for about 4 or 5 hours. This part here will probably take maybe an hour just to get it the way that I want it to be. And then the next process, adding on all of the fabrics. See, I haven't even thought about the fabrics that I want to use yet, and I have some idea in mind. I know that I want her to be kind of flowing. I have an idea about creating an angel, or maybe creating a baby that she's kind of holding. I don't know. Fairy. The possibilities are endless with this. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes. I try not to force what it does. I just kind of let it talk to me as the process goes through. Because this one with the dream catcher, she was supposed to have been an African goddess, and she became a goddess of the earth. So never know. I have all of these ideas in mind, but I just let the the whole process kind of tell me what it wants to become. So what I do from here, still going to add a little bit more. This one is still kind of weak up here. Yeah, I want to make sure that that it's really strong, because sometimes when you add the material gets really heavy with the popper pole. That's what really creates the weight. But if your armature is really strong, it can hold up whatever it is you put on there. And that's why I tend to pack on a lot of the aluminum foil. And another reason why I cut this up into different parts is because by the time this part is over, my fingers are usually achy just from doing all of the squeezing. A little bit more, if I'm not missing. Oh, Sugar Bay, I missed your comment. Hey, Sugar Bay. How are you doing? I'm glad you stopped by. I connected with a bunch of people that you shared earlier this week. I think it was yesterday that I was on one of your videos, and I connected with quite a few other people. So that was nice. Very nice of you. All right. I'm almost finished with this part. You guys are probably saying, oh, when is she gonna stop? But like I said, this part is critical, because this is the foundation, and you want your foundation to be strong. So let's see so far. I have to drink some water. I don't know if you were here earlier, but I had a CT scan earlier with contrast, and I've been drinking like crazy since I got back, just to try to flush that stuff out of my system. Inside of my mouth just tastes like metal. It feels raw. So if you see me doing weird things with my mouth, I'm not even thinking. It's just, my mouth just feels really weird. Hi, Ordine. Yeah, I thought I'd just pop in and do a live, because several people have requested, but a lot of them have requested the painting, and I thought, well, let me just start up with this first, and I'll do the painting another time. But I figured this would be easy enough for me to start off with, because my granddaughter, she's actually asleep, and if I started painting, this is a lot easier to get up from than if I was painting, to try and tend to her. So, but this coming weekend, she won't be with me, so it'll be easier for me to show you the part 2, or the next step of this process, because the next step is actually where it gets really messy. You guys get to see the fun stuff. This part, when you're building the foundation of a house, it's like really boring, and you can't wait to add on, the walls and the windows and everything. Well, this is the same. This is the same thing. But the next segment, when I actually start to see what she's becoming, that's the fun part. That is the fun part. We just add a little piece onto the end, which will become her hands. Guys, if I'm not catching your comments, please forgive me. I did say that sometimes I just get in the zone and just work. All right. This piece here needs a little bit more to hold it on. I'm thinking about doing a giveaway at the end of this, but I'm trying to figure out how to do this giveaway. So any of you have any ideas? Because someone from the live might just walk away with the completed sculpture, which you've seen or will have seen me create. But Ordine, I haven't gotten the results yet, but I'm praying that it is negative for everything that they're looking for, unless it's good stuff. But you never have a CAT scan unless they're looking for something bad, huh? But yeah, I feel fine right now. The main reason why we had it done is because I was having some pain in it's on the left side, just below my stomach, and ironically enough, there was an intuitive friend who pointed out exactly where I was having the pain. So I did a fast for 3 days, and I contacted my doctor, and she said, well, let's do a scan. And she tested, kind of poked around, and so they're scanning my liver, my pancreas, my the whole abdominal area. But I've been doing a lot of different like self-healing methods because I'm not claiming anything, don't need anything else, don't want anything that's going on with me, negative, any kind of illness, so. But right now I feel fine. It's just the effects from the contrast that they put through the IV kind of burnt the inside of my mouth, and it always happens. So what do you think so far? Let me know about what Trish said. I missed something. It shall be well. Exactly. It will be well. Keep us posted, please. Yes, I will. I will, Christina. Absolutely. All right. So I just need a tiny piece on the end there. And I think this part may be finished. I know it doesn't look like much right now, but trust me, guys, she is going to look so elegant when it's all over. I don't know what she's going to be doing. She could be in a hammock. She could be roaming through a garden, dressed elegantly. Who knows? But she'll be amazing. I think I have that part. I just want to make sure that her legs are really strong because that's what's going to be holding up this sculpture. This one still feels, that one feels fine. This one still feels a little weak. So let me add a little bit more in there. So what do you think about the idea for the giveaway? And how do I kind of, let me know what ideas you come up with as far as doing the giveaway. Because I think I'm going to be sending this to someone in the live, or maybe to the person who shows up at every one of the lives to see it actually completed. I don't know. Let me know how to do that. What do you think? Any of you would want to have a one-of-a-kind sculpture from me? Let's see, one more piece. I would never ever be able to duplicate any of these sculptures. Every single one of them will be one of a kind. That's the thing about it. And even the way that I paint, unless you take a picture of it and try and print it off, that's the only way you're going to get something that's exact. But for me to stand up here and paint two pictures to try to do it identical, it will never happen. Every one of my paintings are one of a kind, and I could never duplicate them. All right. I think this part is sturdy. Let me see, I'm not missing anything. Yes, we all want a Gina original. Well, this might be the opportunity. Okay, so the next step from here, now that this is kind of like the muscle, sorry, the muscle part of it. Now I'm going to literally like add on skin. And I think her legs might be, kind of want to add a little bit more. I think it'd be okay. Because your legs hold up your body. So if your legs aren't strong, make sure that they're nice and sturdy. And for the next segment, what I'm going to do, I'm going to have the base ready. So I'll show you how I have her standing. Or maybe mermaid. She could become a mermaid. That thought just entered my mind. We never know. Maybe she'll be a mermaid standing on some rocks. Okay. Just ideas. We'll see. Anybody out there like mermaids? Could that just pop into my head? Maybe while live and whoever is on, put their name in a bowl and pick a winner, though they have to stay on the whole live or else they lose it. Good one. All right. So, okay, here we go. So what you have here is just the fleshy part of the sculpture. What I'm going to do now is kind of add on the skin, which is going to take the masking tape, and I'm just going to, the masking tape basically just secures everything, but it also adds, excuse me, another level of protection and strength for the entire sculpture. And this started to act up, so I'm going to have to grab my scissors, which I know I had here, so that I can get this started again. Excuse me 1 second. Let me just jump up and, oh, here it is. No, I had it. Because sometimes this tape is so sticky, and when I try to peel it. So what I do for this next step is just use masking tape and add on layers of skin. We try to get to a good. All right. Take this piece off. So all I do now is just literally just wrap the tape, and this secures the aluminum foil to the body. Plus it also makes the sculpture even stronger. So I'm going to do that over the entire thing. You see what I got there? I do that with the tape over the entire sculpture. And I think I just lost that part again. Here it is. And because this is really sticky, sometimes I find masking tape that I can just keep on the roll and just roll and roll and roll. But this one is really sticky, which makes it really strong as well. So I just have to rip off different pieces. So this all I'm doing now is just wrapping. I think I'm just too strong. Or I'm pulling this too fast and I keep ripping the ends. All right. I'm gonna go slower this time. That didn't work. All right. Let's. This happens to me all the time with the masking tape. All right, so let's see. Then I just keep wrapping. You can see what I'm doing here. Show you. And this just creates another layer of strength to the sculpture. And I do that over the entire thing, if the tape cooperates tonight. You see? I may have to go out tomorrow to get some other tape because this one just doesn't seem to want to work. All right, there we go. I think I just have to pull it a lot slower than I was before. Yeah. All right, so here we go. And for the legs, we just wrap and squeeze, just like we did with the masking, with the aluminum foil. I just wrap and squeeze it on. And now that's nice and sturdy. And I just keep doing this. Who would have thought? Let's see. These sculptures, the ones that I have behind me, they're actually weatherproof right now. They could go outside. Well, one of them is not finished. This is one that I'm still working on. And for those of you who weren't here, this is a piece that is supposed to represent me and my 3 children. But I'm still working on that. So, but the other 2, these are the 2, those are completely weatherproof right now. So they could go into the garden and they would be completely safe. Excuse me a sec. Okay. That stuff is just really bothering me. Sorry. I'm really trying to finish this part here so you can see, but I may have to stop early. But the next, whenever, if I do have to stop early, the next time that I go live will be this Saturday, either Saturday or Friday night. And that is where I will actually start to dress the sculpture. It will not be like this, but when I say dress, I mean to give it fabrics and then the pose or whatever it is, whatever it's going to become. So that will be the next step. So for tonight, all I'm going to do is to continue to wrap this with masking tape, and then come Saturday, I have the block or the brick or rock or maybe a piece of driftwood, because I'm hearing mermaid, and I think I may actually turn her into a mermaid. So what I'll do is I go down to the river. There's a river close by, and I look for a piece of driftwood, and I think she will be amazing on there. But still, it's not finalized yet. We'll see. But I'm kind of leaning toward a mermaid right now. This part here isn't sticky. That's not good. I think I may have to get some more different masking tape, but this one is just not doing what I want it to do. Those first pieces were really sticky, and you want your masking tape to really stick onto the fabric. I mean, so So if this is not going to work tonight, I may have to go and get some new masking tape tomorrow. Yeah, this part here is fine. And then finish that part up because, like I said, yeah, I don't do shoddy work, so I want to make sure that the framework is really, really strong. But the tape just doesn't want to. I don't know if you can see when I pull it, some of it just kind of rips. So I think, no, I think I'm going to get some new masking tape tomorrow. Yeah. It's not doing what I want it to do. And you can see that part of it is, yeah. All right, so I'm just going to leave this here. But so on what I'm going to do, once I get the new tape, I'm going to go ahead and just completely cover this in the masking tape so that whenever we pick up in the next segment, you'll see everything is completely covered with tape. So you already have an idea of what I'm going to be doing. But everything will be covered in tape. I will also, because I want to get some nice masking tape that I know is going to really stick and hold it together. And this is just not working for me right now. So, mermaid, be wonderful, or a fairy. I've done a fairy, actually a fairy slash angel, and I thought another idea I had for the fairy was I planned on getting a large feather, and no, it was I have a wire sculpture that I created, and it's a wire sculpture of a dragonfly. And I thought about having the dragonfly and having a fairy riding the dragonfly. That was another idea, but that's a whole other different video. For this one, I think I'm going with mermaid. I think she's kind of big for a fairy. I would want to make maybe multiple fairies and maybe have like a giant flower and having some smaller sculptures. I think right now she might be kind of big for a fairy. So, but I do want to get some better tape. So forgive me guys, but this tape is just not cutting it right now. I'm gonna have to get some better masking tape because this one, it's whenever I peel it, some pieces of it come off and it's just not good. So next time you see this, it will be completely covered in a masking tape that's going to hold, because you want it to be held together like you see here. Okay, and then that same night I will reveal what she's going to become, or she may actually just work out the process as I'm working through it. And then I'm going to be doing a bronze one. I won't be doing the black. I do have black as well. But again, we don't know. She may become black, she may become bronze. We'll see. So on Saturday night, we'll continue with the part 2. I don't know did everybody see the other sculptures that I had behind here? I want to make sure that you guys got a chance so you can see. Oh, I like that one. The one I was talking about with the dragonfly and the little fairy riding the dragonfly. I think that would be cool. So I have the dragonfly is done. It's completely, and it's the wingspan is about this. The length is maybe that long. So it's a good size. And so I think it would be really cool having a little fairy riding on the on the dragonfly. So all right, so any questions? Let me let me show you a couple of the things that I've done using the same material, but it's not a figure. They're actually, one is a mask and one is a sculpture that I created with my granddaughter's baby clothes that she outgrew. So let me grab that real quickly. Excuse me while I get up. Let's see. see. Here's this one. Okay. Since I'm not working on that one again, this one, this is actually on canvas. I don't know if you can see. This is it's a square canvas, and these are different pieces of clothing that she outgrew and shoes. And you can hear it is solid. This material makes it everything rock solid. I could put this out in the rain and nothing would happen to it, but I'm not going to do that. This was created for the inside. So I have like a hat, pair of shoes. Actually, there are two pairs of shoes, little booties. And you can hear how hard it makes it. And then one of the outfits that I really loved when she was when she actually wore it. So there's that one. And then I also created a mask using the transparent. I mentioned earlier that um, this powerful material comes in different colors. I prefer the bronze. I also work with black, but I mentioned that there is a transparent one that gives the same effect. But if you wanted to work with certain material and you wanted that like a special design to show through, then you'd want to use the transparent. And that is what I did here. This mask was created using the transparent power material, and not everything is dipped in the power pole. The dream catcher feathers I left completely natural because I didn't want them to be really stiff. But on the other sculpture, the feathers are dipped. But here I wanted a much more natural effect, so I left the feathers natural, but everything else has been dipped except for the this is a sea fan that I found. So that hasn't been dipped as well. That's completely natural, but everything else, again, you can hear it's hard, completely solid. So that piece, I haven't decided if I want to mount it on maybe a stick. I have just a stick coming down on a base, or put it on a canvas like I did my granddaughter's pieces. Haven't quite decided yet, but yeah. So those are our different ways that I've worked with this material. And I don't think you have to be certified to work with the material, but I did get certified because I'm a teacher. I teach in the using this material, or I'm what they call a certified popper pole instructor. So I spent a weekend getting trained in all of the different materials. And the popper pole, there's so many different aspects to it. You know, I won't, but for now, I'm just going to show you how to create a simple sculpture using the popper pole. I won't get as detailed with like I did here. Oh, this one is really detailed. I mean, this actually took me a while because the material that I used on here, this is crochet material. And when this was dipped, well, what I had to do first, I created the centerpiece and I got her dressed in this material. Then I had to let that dry before I could put on the crochet because the crochet part was really heavy. So this one took me quite a while. And initially, she had a grape leaf at the back that I had dipped, but I don't think the grape leaf was quite dry enough when I dipped it. So it kind of started to crack. So I'm going to have to find another grape leaf because I want her to have kind of that earth goddess feel. So that's why I thought the grape leaf was really neat. So this one took a little bit longer and it's a lot more detailed. But for the one that I will do this weekend, depending, I mean, if she does become a mermaid, obviously I'll show you how I take, you know, this body with two legs and create the mermaid. It's very, very simple, actually. So that's that for now. Questions? And I think on Saturday I'll also reveal how I'm going to do the giveaway. So I think the particular piece that comes out of this, whatever it is, I will simply go through with all the names who are on the live, and I will put them into a bucket, and I'll have my son draw the name. Draw it live so that you'll know who is going to be getting it. Fair enough? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop here, and I will see you guys again on Saturday, and it will, if you're okay with that, it'll probably be around the same time, or if you prefer earlier. I mean, it's gonna be fine with me whether you want it earlier or this same time. I started at 9 o'clock or at 9:30 tonight. Christina, I know do you have something planned on Saturday? Because I can do it earlier in the day. It might actually be better if I do it earlier in the day. That way I can kind of, spend a few hours going through the whole thing, and then that will give you time to do your live, because I know that you also do something on Saturday too. So I could go on maybe in the afternoon, like around 2 o'clock. Was thinking with Oh, okay. Well, what time were you planning on doing the angel stories? Because this particular, I mean, I could actually break up this segment into two parts, because depending on what she becomes, I mean, if she becomes a mermaid, that's probably going to be a little involved, because with a mermaid, you could get like shells put on. Her hair is going to be really, really detailed. Creating the flipper part is actually a little bit, well, I wouldn't say a little bit of a challenge, but um, it could take, I may have to break this particular part up into two parts. So it may not necessarily be finished this coming Saturday. 8 p.m. my time, which is 9 my time. Okay, so I can do my live during the day. So how about we plan for like 2 p.m., which is Eastern, 2 p.m. Eastern time, and that way, nobody's completely exhausted, and you'll have your time at night to do your live as well. Is everybody good with that? Net buys online. I am sorry, I didn't see that you were here. So glad you stopped by. I hope you didn't just pop in, or you may have been here earlier and I just didn't notice. Forgive me. I told you guys I would just sometimes talk and work and not pay any attention. All right, so let's plan for Tuesday. Let's plan for 2 p.m. this coming Saturday, and we'll get cracking on the elegant sculpture that she's going to become, whatever it is that she becomes. All right. Yeah, Saturday at 2 is going to be fine for me. It will be fine. So, because I would love to be able to come on your live and talk about the angel experience or the angel stories as well. All right. Just got home from work. Love all you do. You're such a good soul. Oh, thank you. Well, what I said, since you're just getting on, this is how far I've gotten, and I initially wanted to finish getting the masking tape on here, but the masking tape I have is just not cooperating with me tonight. So I'm going to go out tomorrow and buy some new one and complete that part, so that when we come back on Saturday at 2 o'clock, then we can you'll be able to see that part completed, and we can start on with the other part of the sculpture. I did show a couple examples of what I've done with others. So here's one, and this was the dream catcher, and there's another back here. And what I decided was this particular one that showing live, someone in the live will receive it for free. But you just have to be here throughout the whole live. I just knocked everything over. You do have to be here throughout the entire live. And see, guys, I just knocked all three over. There's nothing wrong with them. And the reason why this one is, why it fell is because I mentioned earlier, I do have to put another base on here. And I think I'm going to secure it to a brick because when I initially planned this, she was not supposed to be sitting on top of the world. But as I worked, that idea popped in saying, okay, on top of the world. So the base I initially created turned out to be too small. So I'm going to put a heavier base on there. So that's why she kind of toppled. So I'm going to be working on that one to get another base. But the person, you do have to be in the live for the entire period, or at least for most of it, because I know that this part may take a while. So I'm not going to expect you to kind of sit there for, this is why I'm thinking I may split it up into two different segments, because the part tonight didn't really take that long. The next part is messy, fun, but it does take a little bit longer because now I'm kind of giving it a personality. And you can't rush personality. Okay. So so this coming segment on Saturday may be part 2, and then there may be another part 3 to actually finish the entire sculpture. All right? Because I know it'll take a while, so I don't want people to feel like, you have to sit here and watch me work for 3 hours, 4 hours. I kind of break it up into segments. Koi, hi, how are you? Thank you for stopping by. We were just kind of chit-chatting about the sculpture I'm working on, and I'm coming back on Saturday afternoon, sorry, at 2. That's the plan right now. I will confirm that. And I will continue to work with it. I did just started a new one. Let me see if I can bring a couple more into the screen so you can see what I'm doing. So I did start with this one tonight. I'm just kind of building up the framework, and then we'll continue to build on Saturday and probably again on Sunday to kind of finish up the idea. I have no idea what she's going to become yet, but we did have some thoughts about, maybe just an elegant lady, maybe she becomes a fairy, or maybe an angel, maybe a mermaid. Who knows? We shall see. The idea just kind of evolves as I'm working. I try not to force it to become something. So that's where I got so far because my tape is not cooperating. So I've got to get some new stuff tomorrow. All right. So, and I showed a couple examples, and here's another one. This is the one with a mask. So there's a lot of different things that you can do with the material that I'm going to be working with. And I'll explain more about what the material is when we come on Saturday. Yeah. Christina, you said she will tell you. I'm not sure what you mean. Or were you asking about, time and stuff? All right, so if you have no more questions, Koi, one of the things I did say was that some lucky person in the live is going to be taking home the completed sculpture. So whatever it is that she becomes, because typically my sculptures usually end up to be female, or I've created other sculptures, but most of the time my figure sculptures turn out to be female. Whatever it becomes, then some lucky person is going to be getting it once it's completed. Know what she will be. Okay. Instant replay. Hi, I think we just connected yesterday, didn't we? How are you? I'm just getting ready to shut down. I finished the kind of like part 1 of the new sculpture. and I'm going to be picking it up again on Saturday at 2 o'clock. And the reason I'm not going to be doing it before then is because I have my granddaughter, and it's hard to do that particular segment because it gets really messy. And if I have to kind of pull up, and I work with the gloves for that part because it's really messy, so it would just be easier whenever she's not here with me. So that's why I planned to do that on Saturday. And tomorrow I'm going to be finishing up with the wrapping of the tape. So you'll see that completed part on Saturday when I pick that up. The tape I'm working with right now is just it's just not doing what I want it to do. So I like to have materials that work and work properly. So I'm going to be getting some more tomorrow. You can see right here how that piece is coming off. So that's why I stopped. I want to get some masking tape that's going to be really secure because I want the foundation of the sculpture to be really, really strong before I start to build any further. I just clicked the bell, so I should know the next time you go live. Sounds great. It'll most likely be on Saturday to do this particular part, unless during the week maybe I do like a dinner live or something because I haven't done one of those in a while either. So a lot of people have been asking me, when am I going to go live? So here I am. But I will be definitely on Saturday to come to do part 2 of this sculpture. All right. So I'm so glad you guys stopped by. This was a lot of fun. This was actually a lot of fun. And I will see you all again on Saturday, if not before. I'm sure I'll get on to a couple of you who will have lives and support you that way. But until Saturday, when you all hop onto my live, I will see you again real soon. All right. Good night, everybody.